All right, Shalom. For the fourth one, we give our praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Harakapadash, Bakathum, the bottom to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone, and to what I can across the globe, pushing word and truth and sincerity, one say Shalom. My scripture today, Proverbs 3 and 5. Lord, when I probably do one of these every day, Lord willing. It says, Proverbs 3 and 5. It says, trust in the Lord Yahweh with all thy heart, lead not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes, fear Yahweh, and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. And that's something that we have to remember, man. Remember in this truth, we got to take our emotions out of it, and really examine ourselves whether we're um, uh, uh, looking at this truth as it is our truth, as in if people are to conform to us and our thoughts and how we would do certain things. But it's all about it's all about the scriptures and what the scriptures say. Taking our emotions out of it, taking our own thoughts out of it, because the scriptures about his ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. And there's a lot of things that we may not agree with. There's a lot of things that we may not move in the way other brothers move. Does not mean that it's going off. We have to consider the scriptures, meditate on the scriptures, and decide and judge righteous judgment based on the scriptures, man. You know, um, Leading to your own understanding has a lot of um, uh, 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 can lead to being prideful. All right, being a leading to your own understanding can have you teaching things that are off, not using the proper precepts and the proper scriptures. All right, to uh, 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 to explain the scriptures, man. All right, we have to carefully consider what the scriptures are saying. All right, and if you need help, you pray on it. You call brothers, get counsel. But what you don't want to do is going out teaching and saying things that are not lined up with the scripture because you have a certain feeling, emotional feeling attached to it. The scripture don't say that we cannot marry so-called Edomite women. All right, the scripture don't say that Esau's going to be saved. All right, there's a lot of things that there's a lot of scriptures, a lot of understanding there's a lot of hidden mysteries in the scriptures that you gotta have the spirit of Yahweh Shai on you to understand it. And we just can't go off the gun, teaching things, that are contrary to the word of Yahweh Shai. All right, it says, in all our ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct our paths. Right, man. You gotta ask the Lord to guide us, to lead us, to give us the understanding. All right, on what the scriptures are saying, on what their the intent of the scriptures are. All right, and we're to follow the land whithersoever it goeth. You know, and trusting the Lord and acknowledging that allows you to be unemotional, allows you to exude righteous judgment, to teach righteous judgment. All right, we get a lot of we can be in this troop, and we can have a lot of misinterpretation, I guess that's the word, of what the scriptures are saying because our emotions are involved. Everything brothers do, is not going off. There's things in the scriptures that are what is it, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the bitterness of the scriptures, man. Because we read, I think it's in, I want to say First John, I'm not really sure. But it's about a sin that is unto death. Some Jakes want blood for the smallest things, man. But we got to go to the scriptures and see how the scriptures handle certain situations, how certain judgments came forth. all right, with certain situations, all right, and that's our counsel. This is our go-to. Our go-to is the scriptures, and our answers are from the scriptures, man. Not to get our emotions all riled up because of a transgression or because of an incident that brother has gone through, or because of our lack of understanding. Want um, we want certain things to be done, but the scriptures are against that. You know, sometimes we have our sometimes we go through things in this truth that have happened to us, and because it happened to us, we don't want to be merciful, or we don't want to be forgiving. When on actuality, our job is to be merciful, to be forgiving, to be long suffering, to be patient. All right, everything doesn't require blood, man. Everything doesn't require suspensions and kickouts and you know uh, 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 um, loud, not loud, but excessive correction, so to speak. When I say excessive correction, sometimes Jake has a tendency to overdo certain things. You know, um, they want to execute judgments that are further beyond than what the scriptures allow, than what the scriptures say. And we have to have a proper judgment, man. We have to have balance in our judgment, all right? Not to lean to our own emotional, um, our emotional selves when it comes to rendering judgment. When it comes to teaching these scriptures, man, all right. The scripture about if they speak not according to this word, there is no light in them. All right. We are to teach. We are to expound. We are to deliver a message. All right, the way the Lord has intended for us to deliver it, and not into the way that we want to deliver it. So we can keep disciples to ourselves, so we can get a bigger platform, a bigger following. All right, you got people who want to save the heathens, because it says for God so loved the world, they're leaning to your own understanding. All right, the scriptures say what they say, and we're to teach them directly and correctly, man, rightly dividing the word of truth. So with that, I want to say, Kahala, Yahweh Shemel Shai, God to the apostle and the elders of the great millstone. Till next time, Shalom and Abba.